they sold them for melt value.
Now, is that legal?
I always thought it wasn't, but they call it, what the melt value is. So somebody, I guess it.
Maybe the government just can't be bothered with stopping people from doing it. Well, forever, kids have always put pennies on the railroad track.
I've never done that. Have you ever done that?
No, I had friends that supposedly did it. I never saw them.
Yeah, see, I've never seen one.
One time as a kid, I took a hammer to a penny and just beat the shit out of it.
I'm sure I've done that, but I can't remember the result.
It ended up being like a little triangle. I pounded it out a bit because it folded over. And I just beat it and beat it and beat it for the better part of a day one summer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was at this thing all day long. And it took that long to do it. But I just want to see what would happen. And all you get is like, oh, I see. It's a triangle with a little tiny ghost of Lincoln's face, if you look carefully.
You ever tried to do that with a hard drive?
No.
It's unbelievably difficult. It's almost impossible to bend or scratch the actual disk inside there. It's very, very hard.
You know what tip I heard about? This young computer entrepreneur, Kevin Rose. He was featured on the show Screensavers for a while. It was a show that used to be on cable about computers. And Leo Laporte was the guy that hosted it. And this Kevin Rose, who has since become this big famous multi-millionaire computer entrepreneur, one segment he showed is like, if you want to destroy a hard drive, put it in a microwave.
Oh.
And he said that's going to wreck it as good as anything you can think of. You put it in and it all sparked up like if you put a piece of metal in the microwave, and it shattered it like a fine vase being
really
shattered to bits. And
then how does your bacon taste after that when you put the bacon in the microwave?
Little shards of hard drive in it. I think you probably should just keep a special microwave only for destroying hard drives. Mm-hmm. But was that just a case of you were getting rid of an old computer and you didn't want anyone to have your...
Yeah, it's not that we had anything...
personal emails on it.
I don't think we had anything on there, but I thought, well, I'm not just going to throw this away.
Well, that's
recycle it.
Isn't there a new law now that you can't put electronics in the garbage?
The law is that you can't have them hanging from your rearview mirror.
Ah! New laws in Illinois. Did we already? Yeah, we did talk about that on an earlier podcast.
Yeah, it's a few weeks ago.
Yeah, it's a bummer too because I always liked hanging my TV set from there. I like to watch a show while I'm driving. Well, if I Love Lucy's on or something, yeah. So, this is the one where they're
I've driven this around 100 times. I can do it with my eyes closed or with my eyes glued to I Love Lucy.
Yes. Pause us while we do the I Love Lucy theme. Lucy.
So you mentioned putting pennies on trains, and what is the allure of trains?
Oh, I don't know.
I've never, Wendy and I have never taken like an overnight train trip with a sleeping compartment.
But
we've always we want to add that.
We almost did. Here's the story of that, and I might have even on an early version of this podcast, I might have told this story. Maybe not. Maybe it was just to you and Wendy. Maybe I feel like I've spoken of it.
Spit it out, Bill.
Well, in 1993.
Oh, this old story?
Yeah. In 1993, the year of our Lord, that was the year that Iowa had all the flooding. And the Mississippi River overflowed. And one of the years Iowa had all the flooding. And we were planning to take a train trip to Utah to revisit The scene, the boys used to like, when they were little, this group of young adult novels called the Great Brain series. It was based on a real family that non-Mormons growing up in a Mormon environment in Utah in the 1890s. And it was all about Tom Fitzgerald and his brothers. And they just loved these books. And so we were going to take them to the towns in Utah where these books took place. So I went and I bought train tickets. First, we were going to leave from Naperville, and that was going to go all the way to Salt Lake City. Then we were going to rent a van in Salt Lake City and drive down to Provo and up and all around. And it really was something we were all looking forward to. Then the floods came. And we started hearing that the train tracks at the Mississippi River were covered in water. And they were canceling train trips. It's like, hey, of all things, you never, ever take the train. And we didn't get sleeping cars. I mean, we were going to go bare bones, but we were just going to sit in, reclined chairs. It would have been hard, but it would have been a great experience.
Right.
We ended up, at the last minute, I don't know if the railroad got in touch with us or if I called and they told us that it was official, our trip, because, you booked these tickets just like an airline for a certain day. This trip is canceled, So I got a refund. It was over $1,000 for the 6 of us for a round trip. And we thought, well, we'll just take our big old red van that we took on other vacations. We took it into Canada around Lake Superior. And we'll drive out west because the bridges at like I-80 were still open. So that essentially, we ended up just kind of dipping into Utah. That was I'll tell you, driving over the Rocky Mountains in that van. I mean, that was the year I drove through a blizzard in the end of July in the Rocky Mountains. That was terrifying. Having the kids, I thought, what have I done? I've killed my family. I envisioned them discovering our thousands of years from now, finding the wreckage of our van down in the gully there, with me holding my video camera.
That reminds me of one of the excursions that Wendy and I took. We were we ended up driving through Wyoming, but I forgot where we found this awesome campsite, and it was surrounded by pines. It smelled wonderful, but for some reason I couldn't sleep. And I think allergies or something were bothering me, and I was wide awake, and I was getting just more irritated just laying there. And I finally said, Wendy, let's go. Let's make some time. I can't sleep. We may as well go. Let's just go. We eventually hit a rainstorm, and I remember it was a very hilly area of Wyoming, all these winding roads. And what I remember that was kind of creepy, and it was not a hallucination because Wendy saw it too, there were thousands at night in this pouring rainstorm of toads hopping across the road. It's like we're killing hundreds of them here.
Yeah.
But it was just, I've never seen anything like it.
Yes. I think that's what they would call biblical. Did you ever read of explanation, or was it just that the river was overflowing?
No, we never looked into that.
Hit by toads. That's sort of like Captain Sully Sullenberger getting his airplane hit by geese, and he had to land it safely.
Yeah.
You're a hero, Dave. You navigated through the toads hitting your car, and you did not wreck the car.
Raining cats and dogs and toads.
No. that is. I always hear these stories about rained fish. It's like, well, fish eggs were absorbed up into the clouds, and they hatched in the clouds, and then they. I don't know. It's like, what? It's like, what are you talking about? How does that happen? Or fish eggs getting on the feet of birds flying through clouds. And somehow fish eggs get up in the clouds. They're light enough that they stay in the clouds. They hatch. They're swimming around, and then when it rains, they fall from the clouds.
You're making this up.
No, I'm not. This is real.
What?
No, you think I'm... Oh, no, you've never heard this before.
No.
Yeah. Sometimes it rains fish. We can... I invite the listener to look this up on the internet. I'm sure, nothing is on the internet is wrong. Nothing is false on the internet. But no, it's a real thing that people report. It's like... You find it in those Ripley's Believe It or Not books and stuff, One time in Norfolk, West Virginia, it rained fish, So, oh, wow, I remember that. But, yeah, there are reports here and there where it happens with enough regularity that it's a real thing. But no one, is really explained it to me. I don't know. Having never actually seen the fish...
Could you imagine if that was part of the weather forecast? Conditions are good for fish rain today.
Yeah. Tonight's forecast.
Yeah, so
fish.
So make sure you get your buckets because it'll make good eating.
Yeah.
The water's real clean up there.
Yeah, in the stratosphere. That's the thing. I always heard about acid rain. One time, shortly after I had moved to Elwood, it was raining in the springtime, and I looked over where the electric meter is as I was about to go out to the car, and there was all this foam. And I looked around, and I said, what the hell is this foam? And I looked out in the yard, there's big patches of foam. And later I heard this was an acid rain.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah. And it's like stuff was absorbed up, rain was reacting with pollution of some kind. Very close to the arsenal and Mobil oil, and there's probably some pollutant going on. I never saw it since, but I guess that's what those laws are governed to stop.
The bubble rain.
The bubble rain. You're not allowed to hang any suds off your rearview mirror.
I worked with a guy at Caterpillar. He was from the South. And he says, I think we had a mole problem in the yard. You want to get rid of the moles, Dave? You got to get rid of the grubs. That's what's there. They're eating the grubs. He goes, you know what's works best? You go to the dollar store and just buy some laundry detergent. He says, sprinkle that all over your lawn. He says, that'll kill the grubs. Then your mole problem's gone. It looked goofy as hell the first couple times it rains because your lawn will be all sudsy.
Is this the same guy that they were having a party on the boat?
Yes.
Yeah.
Did I tell that story on the podcast?
I don't think you've told on the podcast.
Okay.
That's a good story.
Yeah, he was, where was he from? Tennessee. So he was younger, I think he was in his 20s, and him and all his friends were out at the bar having a great time, and bar closed up, and they said, hey, let's get some more beer. He says, we'll take it out to the pontoon boat, we'll keep the party going. So everybody gets out on the boat, they start the motor up, they get the music going, they're dancing, they drinking, blah blah. And I don't know who was driving, but eventually somebody said, hey, we're still tied to the pier.
It's like a scene out of a movie.
Right. Could you imagine all these people drinking with the motor going?
Oh.